So it's actually been quite the week. It's been a real struggle time wise to get a lot of things done here. Anyway, what we're doing is we're rebuilding the drive shaft. I got one more U joint to put in. This one goes to the rear diff. But I got all new U joints in. This thing was drier than the Sahara Desert, and I actually had to put it in a vise and tap it off with a hammer. I cleaned up everything, and I put a very liberal coating of grease on the splines, on the spline shaft, and I squirt some grease down inside here. And now I can slide it back and forth on the splines by hand. We got a brand new carrier bearing assembly, the entire thing. And joints up here are done. I just took a gray Scotch-Brite pad and went around this and kind of cleaned it up a bit. It wasn't in bad shape at all. Right now, I'm taking these straps and the bolts, getting those cleaned up. I'll probably rebuild these with a coat of paint. I don't know. But getting those cleaned up, and then we're going to put that last U joint in over there. Excuse me. I got a new tail shaft seal, retainer, gasket, whatever the hell you want to call it. I'll show you. If I can get a hold of the dang thing. So one of these. Now, a little trick I learned from an old timer. Before you put this in your transmission, take it out of the bag and slide it onto this to make sure it fits over that. And you're going to know right away if it fits or not. So, check that out. Make sure it's good, because that way, if you put it on here and it don't fit, you can still take it back. Go get you the right one. The other thing too, I noticed some guys will put, I don't know what, around this side here. I don't know if it's blue Loctite or what. Anyway, this paint stuff actually forms like an adhesive from what I understand. So I'm not going to put anything on it. I'm just going to pull the old one out and push this one in and put the drive shaft back in. And then we can get back to working on wrapping the motor up. I'm still waiting on valve covers. I got those coming from Speedway Motors. They should be here Tuesday-ish. But so once those get here, I also got to figure out the throttle linkage bracket. I bought one. It's supposed to be like the Edelbrock one. It mounts to the Edelbrock manifold, but the issue that we run into with it is the valve covers aren't going to clear it. It's clear over where the valve cover is going to sit. So I don't know if that's something I can get away with the factory throttle linkage, or I'm going to have to fabricate something. I just have to wait and see till after the valve covers get here to see what's going to fit. And then the valve covers I got are steel. They're solid. There's no breather holes in them, no oil fill holes, nothing, just the perimeter mounting holes. So I'm going to take an 1.25 inch hole saw and pop a couple holes in there for the crankcase breather vents. And at which case, if you don't know, I'm sure most of you do, you don't need an oil fill hole. You can literally pop a crankcase breather out and top your oil off that way. So and then I got a buddy, shout out to Arco at Outlaw Edge. As soon as I get him some measurements, he's going to cut me out some old school lettering to tack weld onto the valve covers to kind of give it a nice little touch. So anyway, we'll get back to this. Also, I broke my tripod. The little tabby that holds the camera is gone, lost forever. And this place is a train wreck. We had like 4 or 5 people in here doing all kinds of stuff, and I just haven't had time with my work schedule. So I'm not going to worry about cleaning this up. I need to worry about getting the truck finished and fired up so I can break that cam in. I'm going to show you as much as I can getting the drive shaft in. It's going to be a little hard, you know, one-handed, but I'll show you what I can as we go. I rebuilt my drive shaft. Brand new carrier bearing pulled off and a new one pressed on. All new U-joints. Took a gray Scotch-Brite pad and cleaned up that end. Cleaned up the splines here and re-greased it. I had to tap it apart with a hammer, and now I can move this by hand. And then I just need to get some tape and tape these two together so they don't fall off. And then we're going to put the new tail shaft seal in the tranny while we're in there. And I got my U-joint straps rebuilt, you know, with the old so it's all good. I guess we'll find out if she holds together. This is the very first time I've ever done any of that. These, let alone one of those. So anyway, and I didn't realize the Hobo Freight version was that stout, which I'm actually really happy about for the price. So as you can see, we got the old seal out, and this has clearly got a leak, probably at the O-ring. Right, you take those 2 larger bolts out, there's 2 more up top. There's an O-ring in there. It's probably leaking from that, I would imagine. But anyway, we got the old seal out, which is right there, and that did not go quietly into the good night coming out. But we got a new one sitting right there, and we're going to go ahead and clean up this outer mating surface and get the new one in, and then we can put the drive shaft in. Alright, we got the new seal in, and I don't have a seal removal tool or installation tool, so to speak. So what I did was I just used a pry bar, and I very gently started prying this out, and as you can see, she was in there pretty good, but still leaking. Now, to put this in, I got this out of my ball joint press kit, and let's see if I can get you a good angle. You want to just get in just like that, and this fits perfect. I got this at Hobo Freight, so that's what size works for a Turbo 350 tail shaft or output shaft seal. And then I just used a soft rubber mallet and gently tapped it in until she seated. So now we can put the drive shaft in, and I won't be able to film the actual going in part because I only got one hand. So We'll show you as we make progress.